make a video about something that I never talk about, and I want to turn it into more of like a series of videos on this topic. Um, my name is Denise, and I have something called multiple autoimmune syndrome, which means my body can carry anywhere from 3 to 5, sometimes 6 autoimmune conditions at the same time, and they go into remission and different ones come out and they rotate. I have juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, I have lupus, Sjogren's. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, which I did not know qualified as an autoimmune condition. And I'm actually being tested for something else that a doctor here believes that I have. You don't hear a lot of people mention it, or the struggles they go through, the things they have to deal with. I had never heard of lupus until I was diagnosed with it. I was like 14, 15 years old at the time. It was really hard to diagnose anything just because one thing looked like something else, and then when they couldn't figure out anything, everything just got the arthritis stamp on it because it was close enough. It would actually take a doctor I'd never seen before, which I met her when I left Ohio. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. I left there and moved to Ohio. I left Ohio and I moved to North Carolina. When I moved to North Carolina, I met this doctor, and as soon as she looked at me, she asked me what was going on because I was walking funny. It wasn't even my appointment. I was taking my daughter to the doctor. And I explained a few things to her. She told me to send my medical records, my daughter's medical records, everything to her. And I explained a few things about me because I wanted them to kind of watch out for it when it came to my girls, because it's something that lightweight runs in my family, and we're all being treated for something different. There's been guesses here and there on what this really is. And I didn't want my daughters to go through the same thing that I had gone through my entire life, going back and forth to the doctor, back and forth to the hospital. Nobody has a clue. They give me medication. I have bad reactions to the medication. It's a procedure that I need that I have actually avoided having done. And every doctor I've ever gone to, once they get a hold of my records and they do some scans of me and everything, they've actually avoided even doing it. I have needed knee replacement surgery since I was about 18 because, well, for starters, I played softball and I ripped my knees up, something awful. And then when I was like 16, 17 years old, a sink fell out of a wall and I caught it with my knee. And I'll tell you that story later because I know that sounds strange, but we had a sink that it didn't have like a cabinet or anything under it. It was just attached into the wall. Old school house, old school sink. And something happened that loosened it from the wall. It dropped, and my first thought was to put my knee under it to stop it from hitting the ground, but it cracked the top of my kneecap. There's a whole lot more to that story, but like I said, I'll tell you that one later. But I've done some damage to my knees. I was in the marching band. I, walked everywhere when I was younger. I had this condition that was messing with my joints. That was causing even more problems. So by the time I got into, before I made it to 20, they had already told me I was going to have my knees replaced. I've always figured out a way around it. Somebody had told me certain workouts that you could do that would strengthen your muscles, and I've done everything possible, haven't had a problem out of them. Well, about 3 weeks ago, my left knee got so bad that I am really close to not being able to walk. It hurts to straighten my leg. It hurts to bend my leg. Like, it's bad. And as all of this goes on, I'll explain how bad, but it's bad. It's bad when I consider going to the hospital during a pandemic, and I won't go to the hospital for any reason any other time if I can help it. But I got to thinking about it, and I thought about it then, and I was like, it'll eventually go away. It always goes away. It's not a big deal. Wasn't going away, just kept getting worse. And then yesterday, I had the worst reaction to what we have no clue. Palms of my hands started itching. Everything turned bright red. My face was itching. My arms were itching, something awful. I eventually broke out in hives. And we thought it was an allergic reaction to something because I'm allergic to like bees, wasps, iodine. So we pretty much thought I must have come in contact with something, but I'm like, I haven't done anything different. And it just came from out of nowhere. Then it would calm down, but it would still feel like somebody was poking me with needles. Then my skin started peeling. I couldn't get comfortable. I couldn't sleep. I woke up this morning and I will insert a picture of my face around here. My face had completely puffed up and my lips were swollen. And I have big lips. So you can only imagine. My lips were swollen and I couldn't talk. And I now work in customer service. So I am on the phone quite a bit. Not being able to talk, not a good thing. And I actually had to laugh because I ended up getting a customer whose name started, first name and last name started with a Z, and it was like 13 letters in the last name and 12 letters in the first name. It was a mess. And all I could do was laugh. I had to laugh to keep from crying. I eventually just had to leave work because there was nothing I could do. I had to go and take some Tylenol, just lay down and go to sleep. Now, I know somebody is probably wondering why, with my condition, would I just simply take Tylenol when I probably have an arsenal of drugs at my disposal? I don't. And the reason I don't is because at one point I was on 14 different medications, and one medication caused me to have to take another medication, caused me to have to take another medication. I had to have shots once a week. I had inhalers. I had nasal sprays because something that kicked up an allergy I never had before. I was having asthma attacks. Behind all of this, it started shooting up my blood pressure, so I was on a blood pressure pill, and then I had to be put on something else and some. I've never really been good at taking medication as it is. And then I was on cancer drugs because apparently these medications worked best for people who have conditions such as the one that I have. And did that for a while. And just one day I got tired of it. I was on steroids. I've taken more prednisone in my lifetime a little bit. And I was still working at the hospital, and I was working a lot. Like, I'd go in and do 16 hours, go home for 4 hours, take a nap, get up, go back, do it all over again. I was working too much. I was tired. I was worn out. And I was tired of taking all the medication. I was just tired. It was a lot. And like I said, I've never really been one that was good at following doctor's instructions. I'm surprised, honestly and truthfully, that I haven't taken myself out yet. Not intentionally, but just because when it comes to me and meds, I never follow what I'm supposed to, because it's just so much. And that's not a knock to anybody who takes medication, because if you actually can keep up with and follow, that is awesome. I've just never been good at it. I'm always going to mess something up or take something at the wrong time. Or I had pills I was only supposed to take on Wednesdays and things I could only take before I went to bed. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And one day I flipped out and I stopped taking all my medication all at one shot. The only thing I keep is an EpiPen because, like I said, I'm allergic to bees and wasps. Other than epinephrine and the occasional Tylenol, I just stopped taking everything. And I started exercising differently, changing the way I ate. And I really got on this journey of trying to do something for myself a little bit different while I can. Because there's going to come a point where I'm not going to have a choice but to be on meds, possibly. But until it gets to where I have to, I just want to keep going with this and see what I can do. And I decided to start recording just in case something happens. But I also wanted to record because I want other people who deal with it to know you're not the only person who's dealing with it. And maybe you can learn something from what I'm doing. If you chime in and talk to me, maybe I can learn something from what you're doing. You can tell me about your experiences with certain medications, which will help me make decisions. I can tell you what happened to me when I was taking certain medications. Like, it's just a way for people like me, or even people who don't have it. Maybe you deal with a family member who deals with things like this. Autoimmune conditions, whether you have one or you have four, it's a lot to have to deal with. And it's a scary thing to have to deal with. And I think I've always, because I was so young dealing with all of this, my first RA diagnosis, or my first rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis, I was probably 11. And they had found that I had problems well before then, but they really couldn't figure out what was happening. So I would be like 11 before they would realize, okay, this is really what's going on here. And dealing with it at such a young age, and knowing that you have to be careful of certain things, it kind of puts you in a position where as you get older, you get tired of being careful because you're so young. You get tired of, well, I can't do that because of this, and I can't, and then you just throw your head back and do whatever you want to do and hope for the best. And I think because I've dealt with it for so long, I've kind of just gotten into this, I need to do this my way. I need to control this for now. I need to see if I can take care of myself naturally, because I don't like the medications and all the, I just don't, it's just too much for me. So I'm going to be doing this and seeing what happens. I'm hoping that in the process I can get my knee back to where I can function again. Right now I'm working a lot again, so that's partially what caused this to kind of jump up and start. I think once a week I'm just going to get on here and just talk to everybody about how my week has gone, how my approach is working. So just talk to people, just get my story out there and hopefully help somebody and be helped by somebody. Like I said, having an autoimmune condition is a lot. And it's easier when you have support, and it's a lot easier when you have support that actually understands what you're going through. So I'm actually going to stop this right here. I will talk to you guys next time.